want to start this video off with a little story time. So one of my first years of college is I met this person, and they're trying to make friends just like everyone else as soon as they get to school. So this person met a bunch of friends in a friend group, and all of the people in this friend group were very wealthy, and this person was not wealthy. Like, their family didn't have a lot of money or anything like that. So we have a friend group of, it was like 4 or 5 people, and then another person who was just middle class. And these other friends always used to go on crazy vacations, spring break trips out of the country, out to dinner all the time, going out to the nice bars and clubs and things like that. But this one person was not able to afford that, and they went into tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt. And they did all of this just to fit in and, be a part of something that they probably shouldn't have been a part of. And this is what people really don't understand. Trying to look rich and all that kind of stuff when you don't actually have any money isn't doing you any good. And it actually makes it way harder to even get ahead. So this person is basically screwed now. And I want to talk a little bit about why. So when someone does something like this at a really young age, we're talking 18, 19, and tens of thousands of dollars, they're losing in a lot more than one way. Most people think, oh, wow, they're just gonna, have a lot of credit card payments, things like that. There's more to it than that. You're spending money you don't have. You're spending even more money on the money you spent because of the interest on a crazy credit card interest rate, probably like 30% interest. You're probably in student loan debt as well if you were to do something like this. You got no savings, no investments. And I think subconsciously you're making yourself, a normal life seems weird now because you were all bougie for a couple years. And in your mind, you probably have to keep up this image that you've created of yourself by spending all this money you don't have. And it's not about just wasting money. It's killing any ability, to build a future for yourself and even, get into anything like saving or investing. And, I'm not a stickler for, going out to eat and like buying some shoes, right? It's that kind of continuous lifestyle, you'll just never be able to get ahead. While other people are out, working over spring break, working in the summers or just relaxing to save money, and you're just blowing it all, like, that's the big problem. Pretending you're ahead is actually probably the fastest way to get behind. And a lot of people have this sense of entitlement now where they just think they should, deserve everything. If you ever watch like a Caleb Hammer YouTube video, you'll see this all the time. The people, they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to get rid of this. And they're like, no, non-negotiable. And it's like the dumbest thing you've ever heard of. It's like their yearly trip to Disney or something. It's like, oh my God, who cares? Like, you're 200 grand in debt. Like, we should not be going to Disney. And this is the trap I'm talking about. You cannot downgrade your lifestyle without feeling like exposed in some way. And it makes you feel the pressure of just keep saying yes and just stretch it as far as you can. And for some reason, people feel like just basic financial discipline means they're falling behind. Like, if you actually have to like stick to a budget, that means you're like broke or something, which is like totally not true. And like, that's why this subject gets me all like fired up like this. People are normalizing like being stupid with their money because they're just too scared to, actually lock in and take accountability for what's going on, or maybe even accept the fact that they're overdoing it in many different ways in their own lives. Now, I want to take a second and compare the scenario I talked about earlier with the, going in tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt with someone who doesn't do any of that. Now, this person that doesn't do any of that, they don't care about what they wear or who they're seen with or where they're posting on Instagram, right? All they care about is, saving money, investing, paying off their student loans. Now I want you to fast forward, and they're both 25. One person has probably no debt and $100,000 maybe in cash and investments. And now the other person has probably progressed even further into debt and has nothing to show for it. And if you think about where you want to be at 25, I feel like a lot of people are choosing the $100,000, right? At least I would hope so. So why aren't people doing what it takes to get there? It just seems so like simple, but nobody does it. Now I want to show this isn't just about one scenario, and most people aren't doing something this extreme, but they are doing a smaller version of it. Going out when they can't afford it, but buying clothes for the image and spending money so they don't feel behind. And there's nothing wrong with not having money yet. But if you're going into debt to try to look like you got some, you're making sure you're staying behind. You're trading your future for appearances, and this is just not necessary, and you should not be doing that. And tying this to social media, none of that is real. What you see on Instagram, none of it's real. So just stop looking at it. And if you think it is, and you want to keep up with looking good on Instagram, do you then, man? Do you? But I don't want to hear anyone complaining about it. And yeah, that's just a little story time and what I think about that doing that kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Thanks.